Live from Indianapolis, this is the postgame show.
Welcome to Lucas Oil Stadium, and what a game we would have this afternoon as your Indianapolis Colts find a way to get the victory against the Arizona Cardinals. 31-27 the final. Everybody, Anthony Calhoun alongside here, former Indianapolis Colts tight end Ken Dilger, our good friend Marlon Jackson. He's off this week, so Ken's here to join us. And man, what a way to join us, because what a game here, what a win here for the Colts. And it wasn't pretty, but they got it done.
I tell you what, AC, what an environment it was today. It was loud, especially in that last drive. But we talked about in the pregame show, the Colts defense trying to get off the field on third downs. They were not very good at doing that.
Yeah.
The Colts on offense weren't very good at converting third downs, but in the second half, Danny Jones made some great passes. Tyler Warren came up big. Alex Pierce came up big.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Taylor at the end kind of sealed it with a couple of first downs.
And I think we learned a lot, again, about this football team, what good football teams do. Where you're not playing your best football,
Right.
You find ways to win. And this very well could be the Arizona Cardinals headed back west there to Phoenix with the victory, but this team fought and found a way to win.
They sure did. We talked about in the pregame show. They lost 3 games in the fourth quarter by 3 points or less, and today was no other than that reasoning right there. So this team's a good team, even without Kyler Murray. Jacoby Brissett played really well. We couldn't tackle him on certain downs and grab him down. So, you know, Arizona, they fought to the end, but it was a good victory for the Colts, AC.
Okay, so we're waiting to hear from head coach Shane Steichen. Once he's at the podium, we'll bring it to you live here on Wish TV as Indy improves to 5-1 on the season, and they'll get set to take on the LA Chargers coming up next week. But no doubt, this is a game where I know Shane Steichen, with all the weirdness that took place before this game, and we'll talk more about that, but his team finding a way to get the victory and win here this afternoon against, yes, the Arizona Cardinals. A Cardinals team that came in riding a 3-game losing streak, 3 heartbreaking losses here for the Arizona Cardinals. You know, you can talk so much about different players in this team, especially offensively, but what Daniel Jones has been able to do, he had a bad interception early in the game, but it was like he said, let's forget about that. Let's find a way. Let's will this team to a victory, and he did that in the final moments here against Arizona.
Yeah, you're right, AC. I tell you what, Arizona's defense pressured Daniel Jones all day long. I think they only sacked him 1 time, but he was moving his feet the entire day, and I thought the offensive line did a good job of kind of giving some extra time, finding some of those wide receivers down the field, AC.
Yeah, exactly right about that. And so, you know, Ken, when you look at what they're able to do here today with Daniel Jones, the fact that his numbers, when you look at them, they're going to be like maybe not over 300 yards, but he was consistent despite that interception. But there's something about the trust he has with those wide receivers as well.
Yeah, especially in that fourth quarter when they needed a drive to get a field goal and needed another drive for a touchdown. He made some incredible passes. Tyler Warren came up with a couple of big catches, as well as Alex Pierce. And so the Colts get the big victory today. It wasn't great, it wasn't spectacular, but the Colts found a way to win, and we thought it could come down to a Badgley field goal at the end, but the Colts found a way to get it to victory, and you know, now we're 5-1. Jacksonville lost today, top of the AFC South. It's been a good start for this Colts offense and defense. Now they head back out to the West Coast versus the Chargers next week, AC.
You bring up a good point, because Jacksonville did lose this afternoon, so that is huge news here for the Colts as they have that lead now in the AFC South. Once again, waiting to hear from head coach Shane Steichen. Once he's at the podium, we're going to bring it to you live here on Wish TV as his team finds a way to get it done this afternoon against the Arizona Cardinals. He'll be at the podium. Also, Daniel Jones as well. We're waiting to hear from him on his day with this football team and this offense, who for the most part got off to a fast start here against Arizona. Then they had some struggles at times, but and down the stretch here, they found a way to deliver some great passes here from Daniel Jones. You talk about some darts, if you will. He was doing that today in the latter part of this game and connected, as you mentioned, Alec Pierce. We saw Josh Downs, what he was able to do. Michael Pittman Jr. was involved as well. And then, of course, his wide receiver, his tight end, that is, and Tyler Warren. he was outstanding once again. Let's look at those stats here, Kenny. You take a look here, you see the rushing yards, 150 yards, passing 205, 1 turnover, and the sacks. You can't say enough about what this line is doing for this offense, right?
Yeah, you're right. You know, it's only the 5th sack of the season, only a 3rd turnover or interception on the season. But I tell you what, this offensive line, they fought all day versus a very good Arizona defense. The defense came after them today. They blitzed them on many occasions. And Daniel Jones found a way to get the ball out of his hands, avoid the sack, and get the ball down the field. Along with that running game, it paid off dividends in the 4th quarter, AC.
Okay, so there's the numbers there offensively for the Colts here this afternoon. And by the way, Alec Pierce, he's going to join us live here on the post-game show. So we're going to talk to him. It was good to see him back after missing the past couple of days due to that concussion. And so it's good to see him back. And he made some big-time catches today for the Colts as well. Final score, 31-27. Jacoby Brissett almost came in here and beat his own team, because the problem here for the Colts, there was no type of pressure at all on the quarterback. That could have been costly for this football team. But down the stretch, they did find a way to stop them and get the win here.
Yeah, I'm sure Jacoby Brissett was fired up to get the start today because of Kyler Murray couldn't start. And now, you know, there was no pressure on Brissett. He picked our secondary apart a lot of times. We couldn't get him down when he tried to scramble, but at the end we found a way to win, AC, and that defense came up big, especially on this last drive.
Look at the defensive stats here for the Colts. Rushing yards, not giving up 100 yards today. That's good. You'll take that. Passing yards is 312 there. We're going to break away for a moment, and we're going to go now live to Shane Steichen. I know he's at the podium now, so let's listen to Colts head coach Shane Steichen.
Mooney Ward suffered a concussion in pregame warm-up. Overall, the game, though, I thought our guys were resilient for 4 quarters. Obviously found a way there at the end, getting the 4-down stop there in the red zone, but a lot of back and forth. Credit to Arizona. That's a hell of a football team over there. Offense, defense, special teams. It was great back and forth, but I just like the way our guys came out and found a way to finish it there at the end.
2 pregame injuries. What are you thinking as you're starting out? What are you thinking after that?
It was very interesting, to say the least. It was. We had to kind of rally the troops there in the locker room and get us back into focus. And I thought our guys did that the right way, and just obviously hope AR's good and Mooney's good. Yeah. It was just trying to get the guys back on focus.
He said he had an orbital fracture. Did he have to go to the hospital?
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of timeline that normally is?
I don't know.
Shane, what can you say about some of the throws that Daniel was making down the stretch of that game, that drive to take the lead?
It was huge. We had a couple of them. We had one with a little double move to downs, and they went to a cloud, and he was talking about all week, hey, if they go to this coverage, I might snap around and rip this in cut there. And sure enough, he saw it pre-snap. He flipped, and he hit Alec right there on the end, which was a huge play to set up that touchdown drive. So he made, like I said, he made some big-time throws. I thought the guys all did a hell of a job, especially the O-line protecting, and Warren obviously had a big game. Downs had a big game. It was overall, it was good. And then JT ran hard like he always does. And to finish it in a 4-minute situation with the ball in our hands and taking a victory knee there was awesome.
Will Riley Leonard be your backup in the foreseeable future?
Yeah, right now he is. Right now, yeah.
At the end of the first half, during a little time left, a couple of timeouts, what was your thought process going on?
Well, they had all the time, and they were going to make it the last shot themselves. So we thought, hey, when we get to a goal-to-go situation, we're going to have to start using them here so we can get, so we have some time left, if we have to go down and, if they would have scored.
Shane, with the, I don't know how you balance when you've got so many DBs out. So you're giving up a lot of plays to Jacoby, but then you got untested guys, I guess, making plays. You walk away saying they made a play when they had to.
Yeah, heck yeah. I thought those guys did make a play when they had to, and obviously you got some young guys out there that are learning on the job, and I thought they competed their tail off. There wasn't any lack of compete in any of those guys. They were relentless, and like I said, when we needed it there at the end, we came up big.
That 3rd and 8 down by the goal line to Josh, what allowed that play to be successful?
Just it was him one-on-one with the backer inside there, and we just had a little shake route on him and trying to cross face right there, and he did a hell of a job, creating the space right there. Great throw by Daniel to get that first down in that situation.
Shane, had some games lately where your offense was playing with leads, but to have to go get it in the 4th quarter like that, was it demonstrated, and
you kind of need some of that. Do you?
Yeah, no doubt. That's this league. You know what I mean? A lot of this league is what happened today. It's the back and forth, and I thought our guys, handled it well on the sidelines, and then we knew it was going to be a back and forth game as we started getting going. And it was great, to see the offense there at the end go down and get that touchdown and go up 31-27 there to take the lead. So credit to the guys. I thought Jimbo did a hell of a job all week with the preparation. There were some things in the red zone. That first touchdown to Tyler Warren, he was looking at the tape, and he was like, dude, this thing's going to hit. And I was looking at him like, heck yeah, it is. And so hell of a scheme by him putting that play in. It was a little shallow route. It was awesome.
Shane, how resilient was Daniel's performance just in the middle there? I know that's a tough defense to read, and it felt like they made him maybe hitch a little bit for a couple drives, and then last two drives.
Yeah, I think obviously he was in rhythm there. That first drive, it was awesome, and then we had the 2 3-and-outs there, and then even on that boot where he, they intercepted, I thought it was a hell of a play by number 2. We were all on the headset saying over, and he jumped up and said, holy crap, that was a hell of a play by that guy. But then obviously, he got into rhythm. I thought he played in rhythm all game. What was he, 22 of 30 again? Great stats. And obviously, when we needed there at the end on that last touchdown drive, he went down and led our team down there.
You kind of know. Are there any emotional swings with him ever? Because he just seems like he's like this all the time.
Yeah, he's pretty calm. I think he's got laser focus. He's locked in. I think it's his preparation. A lot of you guys have heard me say that, but his preparation that he puts in during the week, like, when you're prepared like the way he does, right, you don't blink. Like, you go out and you have confidence in your ability because you put in the work like he does. And when you put in the work like that and you go execute like he's been doing and the guys are making plays around him and the O-line's blocking, it's fun as a coach to watch.
You know about Jonathan and just the way that he transforms his coverages and everything. For Daniel to go what he did today, 22-30, put up 31 points, what does that say about him, just being able to diagnose that kind of a defense?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of preparation like there is every week, but there was a lot of conversations in that QB room. I mean, Saturday night quarterback meeting, we're in there, and he's like, hey, let's pull up Carolina clip 42 and pull up Carolina clip 38. Let's look at these looks and just make sure, hey, are we good on this? Am I getting boom, boom, boom? Do you want me to check out it? I mean, he's all over it. That's the preparation, and that's what you want at that position.
Shane, 6 catches for 42 yards doesn't seem like the biggest day in the world, but that's Josh's stat line doesn't really reflect the kind of game that he had. Being able to make these big plays in these big moments, what does it say about the kind of player that he is?
Yeah, I think he's got a great feel for the game. Obviously, the touchdown there, we had him on a little crossing route there in the back of the end zone, and Daniel did a great job delivering the football there. And then obviously some of those third downs that he created, that one we just talked about, was huge. But great hands, great feel for the game, and then his yards after catch are great, just making guys miss and in space. Great player.
The touchdown run from Daniel, was that a design run, or was it just like, hey, you're out here, let's just get in?
It was a roll pass deal. So we had JT in the flat if we had him, and if they match it up, you keep it and run it in. And so it was a great job by him scoring there.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, guys.
It's coming right here. That look was
There's head coach Shane Steichen there talking to the media still, and he's a coach I know has to be happy about his team. Wasn't a great performance, but they found a way to win. Let's listen now to the Colts quarterback, Daniel Jones.
What is it like to see that kind of come together after an up and down day like that?
Yeah, good to see, for sure. We've had games play out different ways, this season, and this one, we knew was going to be a competitive game. They're a good football team and a good defense over there. So, it came down in the fourth quarter, and good to see us be able to execute in that situation, go down and score, and then great stop by the defense there at the end.
Daniel, you mentioned earlier this week that this is an unconventional defense, a little bit with their looks and stuff. What led you to trust everything so much on the last 2 drives?
I think you still try to see it and recognize what they're playing and where the spots are in certain coverages, and there's traditional parts about it, and there's some unique stuff they do too. So you try to recognize it and still play fast, play with conviction, and throw it with conviction. So try to do that. Our guys made some big time plays.
Was there anything different you had to do to prepare for this? Even leading up to the night before, or was it just kind of the same as you've done in weeks past?
I think the process is largely the same, and kind of how you go about it. I think, some of the communication and how you're, communicating the wideouts or preparing yourself to get through certain reads, and some of that preparation is unique as it is with any team, and kind of dependent on what you're going up against that week.
You did with complementary football. Would you rather have the ball in your hands to win it, or after doing that, have to rely on your defense?
Well, I mean, I think you always want the ball in your hands with a chance to win the game. I think that's what we all prepare for and want, especially as a quarterback. You want the ball in your hands to go down and win it, for sure. But I'm not going to complain if the defense stops them and we get a first down and kneel on it. That's true, yeah. But
Shane's talked a lot about your work habits this season. I wonder, how that's evolved over your career. Is it more than it was earlier in your career? Have you learned to do it different ways? How has that evolved?
I think, I think you just get better at it and more efficient with it. I think I've always spent a lot of time with it. I don't really do too much besides this stuff, so it's always been like that. But I think you get better at what's important or what's key in this situation, or what's critical that we communicate this week, or what's critical that the wideout knows this certain look and have an answer for that. And then communication with Shane, in the same way, is if we get a certain look, I'm thinking this, what are you thinking, and making sure we're on the same page that way. So I think the time and effort has been consistent, but you get better at it. You get more efficient and what exactly you're doing and how you're spending your time.
You say you don't do a whole lot else. Has it always been like that? When did it start to become outside hobbies? I bet you hadn't done during the season.
Yeah, but I think a lot of guys. I don't think a lot of guys during the season, have a ton of hobbies. That's just the nature of it, kind of the way it works in this business. But yeah, I've pretty much always been that way during the season.
Going back to that, you on the Fits and Wits podcast recently. You mentioned how much you learned when you were in Minnesota. How did that kind of help just your process overall, seeing those guys work, and I'm really complimentary of those guys?
Yeah, I think just the level of detail that they operated under. I think just so specific about what looks we're getting this week. Where's the answer? How do we recognize it? How do we walk through it? How do we prepare to see it? Having quick answers on what if this happens, what if that happens. All the situations that could come up in a game. They were, KO, Grant, Josh, and then Sam, and all the quarterbacks were constantly quizzing each other and checking and making sure that they're ready to go for whatever the defense could do.
Shane talked just now about how before the game, you have to kind of try to get everybody refocused. A lot happened with Anthony and Mooney and so forth. What was that like? That's not your everyday situation, obviously.
Yeah, it was kind of a whirlwind. I was out on the field when I heard about Anthony, obviously thinking about him and hoping he recovers well. Kind of a freak situation there, but I think obviously you're concerned for your teammates, Mooney as well, and hoping they're all right. But you understand there's a job to do, and you gotta go out and play and get ready to go.
Feels like in a lot of third down kind of habit situations, you've looked toward Josh. What has he done to earn your trust in those spots?
I think he's just a really smart football player, someone who's gonna make the right decision, feel the space, and get there. And I think we have a lot of guys who do that. So Josh has come up big in a lot of those situations, but I have a lot of trust and confidence in all our guys in those situations.
Daniel, you guys have had dominant wins, but for this one to come down to the fourth quarter and come out on top against a really good defense like Arizona, what does that say about where this team is at, skill-wise, and just looking forward?
Yeah, I think it's just, resilient. I think that obviously the game moving back and forth, it wasn't the cleanest the whole time, and we certainly made some mistakes here and there. And playing against a good team that's going to, force you to execute and play well. I thought just mentally the fact we were able to kind of come down and execute down the stretch and make sure we were at our best when we needed to be. I think that that goes a long way. So the skill, you asked about the skill. I think we're very confident in our ability and who we have on the field, and good to see us, kind of stay resilient, mentally in that situation.
Can you take us to the interception? Were you just a little surprised the linebacker was able to get up that high?
Yeah. I mean, I think thought I could get it over him to Mo on that play, and he made a great play. I go back and look at it and make sure I'm taking care of the ball.
Thanks. I don't know why he's in such a hurry. He has no hobbies, obviously. There's nowhere to go.
There's Colts quarterback Daniel Jones there talking to the media after his performance this afternoon in their 31-27 victory against the Arizona Cardinals. Anthony Calhoun along with Ken Dilger. We're going to take a timeout. We have a crew making their way to the locker room. We're going to hear from the players on this win here tonight. Plus, we're going to talk about Anthony Richardson. We got an update from Shane Steichen on just all that bizarre moment that took place pregame between the Colts and